It's time to welcome our next guest on Meet the Candidates for the election of 2024 for the Clarence Valley Council. Councillor Steve Pickering is joining us right now. Councillor Pickering, good morning.
Good morning, Damo.
Great to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us a bit about yourself. You've just spent 2 and a bit years on council, but people may not know who Steve Pickering is. Who is Steve Pickering?
So I'm finishing my first term as a councillor. I live in Ulmarra. I moved to the Clarence Valley in 2016 from the lower Blue Mountains in Sydney. I spent most of my working life working for a multinational corporation, a Japanese company, where I learnt a lot about working in teams, interdepartmental trust, as well as a large amount of skills. Originally from New Zealand, born in Christchurch in New Zealand. Grew up mostly in Hawke's Bay in the North Island and moved to Perth, Western Australia with my family when I was 14. Unfortunately, in New Zealand at the time, you could get a driver's license at the age of 15, so I missed out on getting my driver's license before moving to Australia by a matter of 3 months.
Wow.
Very disappointing as a teenage boy.
But for the people of Perth, probably a good thing.
Probably a really good thing, absolutely.
So what actually brought you to the Clarence Valley?
I spent about 20 years living in Sydney in the lower Blue Mountains, and it was just getting way too hectic, way too crazy. I was working all over the whole of Sydney area, so it was a lot of driving. 2 hours to get home, 2 hours to get to work wasn't out of the question. Anything less than an hour just never happened. So the travelling, the number of people, just the craziness of Sydney, it was just too much. And my partner and I decided we needed to find something different to do. We needed to change. We've always liked history. We've always liked historical buildings. We wanted a smaller place to live. So we looked everywhere around New South Wales, and we chose Ulmarra. And strangely, we actually had a friend that used to work at the Ulmarra Hotel before we moved to Ulmarra. So we actually knew the village a little bit before we moved here.
And sort of where does the love of art come from? Because you own a gallery.
Yeah, that was a strange turn of events. But bought the building, moved in as a home, and then we had to decide what to do with this space. And originally I wanted to set up a survivalist store, so I wanted to sell survivalist packs. Homebrew gear. I wanted to organise walking tours through the Yirragia National Park. I wanted to rent out kayaks and push bikes. But then that never happened, and we discovered there were a lot of artists in the area that didn't have an outlet for their work, and we got talking to a number of them, especially the Clarence Valley Woodworkers Association, and we saw how amazing the work was that was being created, and it was only available to buy once per year, or at car boot sales or markets, and we thought we could do better. And Mark and I both have a background we've done retail work, I've done a little bit of marketing. Mark's owned his own small business before, and so we thought we will see what we can do to start a gallery, and I just Googled how to open a gallery. There were 10 steps on the webpage, and we just worked our way through those 10 steps, and we opened a gallery. We've always had a love of art, but neither of us are artists or creators in the true sense. But we just followed the steps and ended up with what I believe is the premier private gallery in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales.
I have to ask this cheeky question because you've brought Google into it, but did you Google 10 steps on how to be a councillor? No, that's probably one Google search I should have done. No, I went to the council, council ran an introduction session for new prospects, so I attended the information session, and I read the councillor's handbook. I spoke to some existing councillors at the time, so I thought I knew what it was all about. Probably should have used Google and Google search to find out what it actually meant to be a councillor, because no matter who you talk to and what information sessions you go to, it's not quite what you think it's going to be. So what's the big difference?
The big difference is the amount of time that, I guess it's dependent on the councillor, but for me, I throw everything in. So I don't like doing half of something. So for me, I need to do it with my whole heart. So time was the biggest one. I had no idea how much time would actually go into it. I thought being a councillor meant you read the business paper, you went to a council meeting, and you'd talk to a few people on the street just over the time. But it's a constant job. It really is 24/7. You could be receiving emails, phone calls, text messages at any time. And the other thing that's probably not what I expected is the level of responsibility. Like as I was already a leader within my community, but it was a small community of Ulmarra, and I've been in leadership roles in my past employment. But when you're actually a councillor and you realise what it actually means to be a community leader in the big picture, big sense of the word, and the responsibility that goes along with that, that's something that I probably wasn't fully aware of. I knew that there would be scrutiny, but I wasn't aware for the level of scrutiny that there would be.
There's been a lot of contentious issues in the last term of council. One of those, of course, was the Regional Aquatic Centre, but when you did stand 2 and a bit years ago, you wanted to make sure there was a pool for the Clarence Valley because of the Ulmarra pool being closed. What did you find with that whole Regional Aquatic Centre getting to the point where it is now? The debate and the public scrutiny and I suppose the Lion's Den in September last year.
Yeah, so that's a good question. When I first moved to Ulmarra, the first social activity I had it was a hot day. It was in December 2016. I was doing some work on the property. I was hot. I went to the pool, jumped in the pool, and I met people that day in that pool that I still talk to and still get on with today. It's the connection that the pool had to the community was something that a report couldn't provide council with at the time. And I actually formulated a plan to help save the pool, brought community together. It was my first, one of my first interactions with the council at the time was doing a deputation. And deputations are 5 minutes long, 5 minutes of questions. My deputation went for about an hour, and the councillors at the time just kept extending the time and asking more and more questions. And in the end, it was voted down, and so the Ulmarra pool closed. One thing that the council at the time said was that when the pool closes in Ulmarra, there'll be a new aquatic centre in Grafton. So the local communities will be able to use this new flash aquatic centre. And so I sort of watched from the sidelines as that progressed through the existing council. And through the community consultation, and it was going around and around and nothing was happening. And then as a councillor to be told that the pool needs to be shut, we can't get insurance on it, people's lives are actually at risk if this pool is not closed and replaced. It just forced a decision on us, and it was a really tough decision, but we chose to close the pool and to rebuild a new one. If I was designing a community pool, I probably would have done things differently, but for council at the time, if we wanted to get that pool built quickly, we needed to follow the plans that were already drawn up. So there was no real opportunity to start mucking around and changing those plans, which is one of the other frustrations about council. If we wanted to change those plans, we would have to go back to the start of the process and engage the community. What sort of pool do you want? Do you want it to be an aquatic centre? Do you want a gym there? Do you want a cafe? Do you want 2 pools or 3, 8 lanes or 10? And so we would have had to go back to the start, go out to tender, get someone to design it. It would have added 1, 2, who knows how many years onto the project, and the pool needed to be completed. The residents of Grafton, South Grafton and the outlying areas, they needed an aquatic centre. It gets hot in Grafton. It's already, it's been in the 30s during winter and into spring already. It can be really hot here, and we need somewhere to cool off. We can't say there's a river, use the river. We need something better than that, and the pool is on track and on track to be finished on time and on budget to be finished around Christmas this year. So it's something to look forward to.
Could be an early Christmas present for the residents of Grafton.
Hopefully it will be finished well and surely before Christmas. It'll make a great Christmas present. I've already started asking questions about how much it's going to cost for our residents to use the pool over the summer holidays. Are the buses actually going to be, will kids be able to get a bus to get to the aquatic centre? Is it going to be something that's easy to get to. So these are things that the new term of council will have to quickly look at, and if those questions can't be answered, they need to make the changes straight away to make sure that our kids, especially from our outer areas, outer suburbs, will be able to actually get to the pool, and it needs to be affordable for our families too. You know, we've got a loan to pay for the pool, but we need to. It's not a profit centre. It's a community facility, and we need to be mindful of that. We need to make sure that it's affordable for our families to use.
Was there anything in council that frustrated you as a councillor that you wish you could have been able to do more, but I suppose bureaucracy or red tape stopped you?
Yeah, good question, thank you. The one thing that probably frustrates me more than anything, and I think I mention it whenever these particular items come to council, is the fact that the state government take some planning matters out of council's hands and they are automatically referred to the Northern Region Planning Panel, of which council have two and an alternate delegate on. But by taking those decisions off council, it's really frustrating, and it's even more frustrating the procedures of the planning panel don't even allow council to know what the staff's recommendation is on a project before it goes to the planning panel for determination. It's very frustrating.
Moving forward, should you be elected on September 14, is there anything that you would like to see happen in the next term of council that's sort of in the back of your mind?
We've done an awful lot in a short term of council. We've only had about 2.5 years to affect the change that we've brought on. There's some things that I would like to see maybe improve. I don't know if maybe change or improve, but I would like to see community consultation performed to a level that the community expect. So when we were first formed council, we put out a document. It was a policy on community participation, and it went out to the community to provide feedback on. I think from memory, most feedback was about typos and spelling mistakes and grammatical errors rather than the nuts and bolts of the actual policy itself. So if I'm re-elected, I would really like to see that policy put out for public comment again. And I would like to see real feedback, like meaty feedback provided to council as to how the community think we can improve our community consultation. I think that would be a really good start. There's a lot of community consultation that goes on, but council are always knocked for not doing enough or not doing it right. So I would like to fix that. Yeah.
What are some of the other things that you'd like to see happen? Are you standing on a platform? Is there a platform that you're standing on running for council this time round that you're going to do this if you get on council?
For a candidate, one thing I've learnt now that I'm a councillor is that you're one of 9. So I may say that I want to achieve this, but if I can't get the support of a majority of other councillors, then I'm going to not be able to achieve my goals, which would be disappointing. But some issues that I really do focus on are our small towns and villages outside of our main capital centres. Our small villages need a lot of support and maybe a little bit more love, which we've started doing over the last term of council. Our water quality. Water quality is something that comes up a lot, and we're working towards a filtration plant. I really want to see that progress. I want to see the number of. I want to see our water taste better. And I also want to see water quality testing of our estuaries and of the Clarence River itself and its tributaries. It's something that I've been working on as a side to being a councillor. I want to see more footpaths being connected. I want to see more active transport utilised within the Clarence Valley. I want to see a footpath to be joined to another footpath. I don't want to see just this random footpath there that nobody uses. I want to see bike lanes. I want to see bikes pursued as a viable means of getting around. They're probably the big ones.
Obviously, in council the last term, there was lots of, I suppose, different personalities, I guess you could say. You were the calming force when it came to the council meetings. You were the quietly spoken one. Do you feel, though, that there were obviously differences of opinion that went a little bit too far, like even behind the scenes?
a lot of the issues that come to council because they're not easily solved problems, and we need a group of people to come together to make the decision in the best interest of the entire community. Some of those issues were very divisive. Some people got very emotional about some of the issues that came to council. I do like to. I don't like to. I am more calm, and I think that I make sensible, rational decisions. I listen to all arguments, and I look at all evidence before I make a decision, and I do try to verbalise the reasons why I make those decisions. I think when you've got 9 people coming together, they're representing the entire community, and we don't all get on 100% of the time, so we are going to have personality conflicts there. I think some of those conflicts could have been maybe addressed in a different way and perhaps better managed. I think looking at the group of candidates that we've got coming through again, there's a huge broad range of personalities there as well. I haven't spoken to all of them personally, but I've been reading about them in the media. We've got to meet it's to meet the candidates. So I think when we elect a mayor, the mayor is the one that needs to bring the different groups together and the different people together, and the levels of respect and tolerance probably could be something that I worked on in the next term.
Speaking of mayor, will you be putting your hat in the ring if you're elected on council at the first council meeting?
So, well, the simple answer is yes. I put my hand up last time at the mayoral election, and I'll be putting my hand up for mayor again if I'm successful in being elected this time around.
And given the list of candidates that we've got for this election on September 14, are you confident that there could be harmony amongst all the councillors?
Harmony is an interesting word. I think looking at the group of councillors, that's a really tough question. I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of different opinions out there. Last election, we didn't really. Most candidates sort of came together earlier on, and spoke to each other, and preferences weren't really a thing. This time around, there's a lot more preferencing going on. I'm not announcing my preferences. I'd like to keep an open mind, and I don't want to put anybody offside from the start. I'm more than happy to work with absolutely anybody. I can talk to anyone, and I will talk to anyone, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. I think we will end up with a good team because we've got some good people out there, and it's up to the voters to make the decision as to who they want to represent them.
And I guess the final question is, why should people vote for Steve Pickering on September 14?
Well, people should put number 1 next to Steve Pickering and then choose another 4 options from the list, because I've got more to do. I stood up. I've been standing up for my community for years. I first nominated to be on council because I could see that change needed to occur. Change still needs to occur. I've been part of that change. I've been out there making sensible decisions based on fact, and also listening to the community's wishes. I will continue to do that. I've got the energy, I've got the stamina, I've got the intelligence, and I've got the ability to do more for council and for the Clarence Valley, and I'm hoping that I will be re-elected.
Well, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.